a new book. It's called The Raft, and it's up on the board right now. What do you see when you see the cover of the book? You see a little boy, you see a lot of animals, and you see this big, long stick and wooden platform that he's standing on. That platform is the raft. So before we begin our reading, we're going to go over a few words that we're going to see in the book. So what do we think this is? It's wood tied together by rope. This is a raft. Can we say the word raft? Raft. Next we have a picture of maple syrup. What do we do with our maple syrup? We put it on our breakfast foods like our pancakes, our waffles, and our French toast. It's very sweet. Can we say maple syrup? Next, what do we think this is? This is a fishing pole. We take our fishing pole to go fishing. It has a hook, and this funny looking thing right here is the bobber. A bobber bobs up and down in the water to let the fisherman know where his hook is in order to catch the fish. What do we think this is? It looks like goggles, but that's a mask because it covers your nose. And this long thing next to it is a snorkel. We use that when we put our face in the water to breathe. Snorkel and mask. Next we have another wooden platform that's all strung together, but that's a dock. A dock is where you tie boats to so they don't go away. This is a life jacket. It helps you stay afloat in the water. It goes around your neck and keeps you up. Life jacket. Next we have rope. We use the rope to tie together the wood to make a raft or tie the raft to the dock. This is a funny animal. It's a raccoon. It has black around its eyes and all throughout its tail. Raccoon. This is a deer, but this is actually a buck because it has the horns coming out of his head. Can we say buck? Next we have a bird. It's called a heron. Can we say a heron? Next animal we have is an otter. Otters live under the water. What do you think we'd use to see otters if we were in the water? A snorkel and a mask. Otter. Next we have a picture of two deer. One is a doe and one is a fawn. The doe is the mama deer, the big one, and the fawn is the baby one with the spots. Doe and fawn. Next we have mud. Mud's squishy when you step in it, so we have to wear special boots before our shoes get dirty. Can we say mud? This is a picture, but it's a sketch. It's a sketch of a bird. Can we say the word sketch? Very good. So now we're going to start our story. The Raft by Jim LaMarche. This is Nick. Nick is going to spend the summer with his grandmother. Does Nick look happy or sad to spend the summer with his grandmother? Nick looks sad. He's sad because there's nothing to do at grandmother's house. His friends aren't there. There's no TV. He thinks he's going to be bored all summer. Do you think Nick is going to be bored all summer? Do you think he'll find something to do? Well, when he gets to grandmother's house, Nick doesn't think so. So grandmother is inviting him in to eat. Nick, she calls. What would you like? Would you like honey or would you like maple syrup on your cornbread? Maple syrup? It's an American condiment that we put on our breakfast food. Do we know what a condiment is? It's like a ketchup or a mustard for our breakfast food. We put it on pancakes and waffles and French toast. It's very sweet too. So what do you think Nick would like? Honey or maple syrup? Grandmother asked Nick if he wants to try it. She puts a little bit on his finger and asks him to try it. Now go, she says, go wash your hands. And Nick stands up and he goes and he walks into the bathroom and he washes his hands. But then Nick goes outside. Does Nick look happy or sad again? He still looks sad. He still thinks there's nothing to do. Here we see grandmother. What else do we see on the walls? We see a big fish. Where do we find fish? In the ocean, in lakes, in rivers. And what else do we see? We see paper with drawings, right? Those drawings are called sketches. We've seen sketches before, haven't we? And here's grandmother. Nick doesn't like cornbread. And he wasn't trying to have any of the maple syrup, but grandmother wasn't looking. If you're going to do that, if you're going to stick your finger in my maple syrup, you have to wash your hands. Here, what do we think Nick is looking at now? Does he look happy or sad still? He looks like he's getting a little bit happier, but we see bears. Do we think grandmother likes bears? I think so. She's got drawings or sketches of them, and she has a huge wooden bear. Do we think Nick is scared when he looks at the bear or interested? He looks very curious. Dad told Nick that he'd have so many things to do at grandmother's house. He wouldn't be bored, and Dad was right. Grandmother made Nick stack firewood, help change the spark plugs on her truck, and clean the rain gutters. What do you think was in the rain gutters? Do we know what rain gutters are? Rain gutters go on the outside of the roof of your house, and sometimes they get filled up with leaves. And when it rains, the leaves get all soggy. And when the leaves get soggy, they don't move. So you have to clean them so the water can flow off of the roof and down to the street through the gutters properly. After Nick did all those things for grandmother, she came up to him and she gave him a fishing pole and a bobber and some red worms. Have we ever touched worms? They're a little slimy. Where do we get worms from? We get them from the ground. So, what do we think Nick is going to do with the fishing pole, the bobber, and the worms? Very good. He's going to go fishing. And what do we think he's going to catch? Fish. Grandmother's making Nick go fishing in order to get dinner. The river's full of fat bluegills. Drop your line near the lily pads and you'll find them. Do you think it's going to be that easy for Nick to go find these fish, to catch one? I don't think so. But Nick takes his fishing pole and his bobber and his worms down to the dock. And he sat there and he threw his line out as far as he can. And he threw it. And then he sat there waiting for a fish so he can reel it in. But nothing bit. There's no fish in this river, he said. Nick looks sad again, doesn't he? He's not having a very fun summer yet, is he? No. But as Nick is fishing, he sees something down in the water, and he starts to clean it off. What do we see on it, besides our drawings? We see leaves and branches that's covering it up. So Nick had to clean off the new item that he found. And what do we think that is? Very good, that's the raft. Nick runs back up to grandmother's house. There's nothing in this river, grandmother. Maybe not, she says, but you'll see something in time. And as Nick goes back down to the river, that's when he finds the raft and cleans it off. Grandma was right, Nick yelled as he ran back up to the house. Grandma, do you have rope? He asked. In the shed. Go ahead, go take some, she says. She doesn't ask any more questions. Why do you think she didn't ask what it was for? Do we think grandmother knew the raft was down by the dock? Maybe. She said he'd find something soon enough. She never said it was a fish. Very good. Nick pushed the clothes to the dock and tied the raft to the dock so the raft didn't float away. As Nick did that, some animals began to come up near the raft. What animals do we see on our raft? Let's go back. We see a rabbit, and we also see several birds, don't we? We have a bird down here. Here's a better picture. What else do we see? There's foxes on it. There's a raccoon on it. There's birds. There's a picture of a bear and deer and a turtle. Which of these animals do we think we can have as a pet? Good. Probably our turtle. Where would we keep our turtle? In a tank. Good job. So, Nick runs back up and tells grandmother, I found it. I found a raft. And grandmother was so interested that she went down with Nick and sat on the raft with him. What do we think this long pole is for? Is it so Nick can climb it? No. The pole helps Nick steer direction. So, he's holding it on the raft and he's moving it like this so he can move forward. And he'll switch sides sometimes. So you have to pull in order to push the raft. Very good. The next day, Nick and his grandmother took a ride on the raft. What do we see flying in the sky when Nick and grandmother are sitting on the raft? Very good. We see birds. Nick's very curious of how grandmother knew where the raft was, but she never said. They just went up and down the river together and spent the day out on the raft. The next day, Nick went out on the raft by himself. He hopes he would see more animals since they all love coming up to his raft. He saw many more birds and even a family of fox. Can we see the fox down in the corner? And there's birds here with him. Very good. Here's a better picture. What do we see? We see our birds and we see the water and we see our family of foxes. Do we see the little fox looking right at us? How would you feel if that happened in real life? I think I'd be pretty scared. The weather was hot and sticky to stay indoors. So, grandmother decided it would be a good idea if Nick camped on the raft at night. Do we know what camping is? Have we ever gone camping? Camping is when you sleep outside, but in a tent. So, grandmother set up a tent for Nick, and he had a flashlight and sheets and comic books to read until he fell asleep. But in the middle of the night, a noise woke him up. And Nick looked out from his tent, and there he was, a buck staring right at Nick. Do we remember what a buck is? Very good. Our buck is this deer with horns, with antlers. Good. But the buck wasn't scared of Nick, and Nick wasn't scared of the buck. In fact, the next morning, Nick went to grandmother. Grandmother, do you have any extra paper that I can borrow? Of course. She brought out a big sketch pad and pencils and filled a pouch with crayons. I've been saving these just for you, she says. Better take these too. And she held out a snorkel and a mask. You'll never know what comes in handy on the raft, she told Nick. Why don't the animals run away from Nick when they see him? I think they know that he's not going to hurt them, that he's just not going to bother them. Nick doesn't want to hurt the animals, he just wants to look at them. Here's our picture of Nick on the raft. We see his tent and how the animals keep him company. They're trying to keep him safe. We can also see that the raft is tied to the dock so it won't float away. The next morning, Nick went back to the raft and began to sketch the animals. A heron, this big animal, this bird right here, stopped on the raft to eat a crayfish. Nick drew the heron and was very proud of his picture, so he ran back up to grandmother's house. "Grandma, Grandma, look at my picture," he yelled. "That's very good," said his grandmother. "You're a lucky boy." Nick wanted to go back down to the water, and his grandmother handed him a snorkel and his mask. Do we remember what a snorkel and a mask is? Good, our mask goes across our eyes, and our snorkel goes in our mouth and up. So here we see Nick sitting on the raft, sketching the bird. What is Nick wearing? He's wearing glasses, but what else is Nick wearing? What is this orange thing that Nick is wearing? Very good, that's Nick's life jacket. Nick's being safe by wearing it around the water so he doesn't fall in. So Nick puts on his goggles, his mask, and puts his snorkel in his mouth. And when he does so, he puts his face down in the water. And what do we think he sees? I think we see that Nick sees fish. Very good, and there's some plants, but Nick also sees a family of otters. The otters knew that Nick wasn't going to hurt them, and as he fed them a fish and looked down at them, they wanted to play with him. Here we see another picture of our otter and our fish, and these are lily pads. Some mornings, grandmother would come down to the raft with Nick. She put on her bathing suit and sit in her tube so she wouldn't be in the water completely, and hang out with Nick. She would bring sandwiches and lemonade, and they'd have a picnic. How do we know that Nick's grandmother really cares about him? She brings him snacks, and she plays with him, and she keeps him company. She wants to make sure that Nick is happy and safe, so sometimes she goes with him. Here we see Nick having so much fun. Do we think Nick is happy or sad? Very good. We think Nick's a little happy, right? And we see all his animal friends with him. His towel, and what is Nick doing? Nick's jumping in the water. One afternoon, it was very foggy. Do we know what fog is? Fog makes it hard to see some mornings. Nick was pulling down the river when he saw something moving in the trees. What do we think's in the trees? It was a doe and her baby fawn. The doe was running, but the fawn was stuck in some mud. Do you like mud? Do we remember what mud is? Mud is squishy when you step in it, so we wear our rain boots. Very good. Here we see our fawn stuck in the mud in the water, and the mama over here. So Nick gets off of his raft and is done with what he's doing, and he decides, I'm gonna go help this baby fawn. And as he walks up to the fawn, he does it very gently in order not to scare her. And he bends down and he tells her, it's okay, I'm not going to hurt you. And do we think the fawn trusted him? I think so, because after a little bit, the fawn became relaxed around Nick. And Nick picked her up out of the mud and she wasn't stuck anymore. As Nick was getting the fawn out of the mud, the mother came back for her baby. He was relieved and proud of himself. And then he got an idea. What do we think his idea is? What do we think Nick's gonna do? Nick might begin to draw a picture of the fawn and of the doe. Very good. And where is he drawing it? Is he drawing it on paper? Is this paper? No, very good. This is the wood for the raft. He took out his pencils and began to draw the fawn. Grandmother gave him pens so he could sketch, so his sketches would stay. Now his experience of saving the fawn would be drawn on the raft forever. After dinner that night, Nick showed his grandmother the sketches that he drew of the fawn on the raft and told her a story of how he rescued it. He was so happy, and it was a good day. But it was also the end of summer. The next morning, Dad would be there to pick him up and bring him home, and he gave his grandmother a very big hug. Your sketch is wonderful, Nicky. Now you'll be a part of the river forever. And here we see, as the sun's going down, Nick and his grandmother on the raft. And here we see our little fawn. Do we think Nick had a very good summer? I think so. He started off the summer sad, and then grandmother gave him some maple syrup to eat with. She gave him sketch pad and pencil and paper so he could sketch all the animals he saw. She helped him find the raft, and the raft became a very big part of his summer. And Nick went from sad to happy, and he had a good summer. But now, do we think Nick is happy or sad that he has to go home? We think Nick is sad now. Good job today, everyone.